Hi everyone. So one of my viewers had asked me about his EM10 Mark IV, and he said that he realizes it doesn't have any way to save custom settings, unlike on the EM1 Mark II and Mark III and the OM1, etc. But he noticed that when he was going through his picture modes, like natural and monotone and vivid and portrait and all the different art filters, there was one there called C. And next to the letter C was the word custom. And he was wondering what that was for. Maybe that was a way to save custom settings. Well, kind of, but not really. You're not going to be able to save things like shutter speed and aperture or, all the different other kind of camera settings. But basically what it is a way for you to save your own custom picture mode. So what is a custom picture mode? Well, it's basically a way for you to take an existing picture mode in your camera, like natural or vivid or monotone, and just tweak it a little bit. There's a few settings there like sharpness and contrast, tone curve, things like that you can change to just tweak it a little bit and make it your own. So what I'm going to do today is show you how to use that by giving you my own custom monotone profile that I use to sort of mimic black and white film. All right, so I don't actually have an EM10 Mark IV, but I can show you here on my EM5 Mark II. It's exactly the same. Basically, you just go into the menu, and you go into shooting menu number 1, and then go down here to picture mode, and click OK on that. And then go all the way down here to custom, and then click right. And here's where we can customize an existing picture mode. So I'm going to go down here to monotone. And I'm going to increase the contrast to +2, increase the sharpness to +2, and I'm going to use a red filter. And then I'm going to change the gradation to low key. And that's it. All right, first let's take a picture using the regular monotone setting. All right, now let's take a picture using our custom picture mode setting in monotone. All right, so that wasn't terribly convincing, so I actually do a couple of other things. Let's go into the super control panel, and I just use ISO 25600. And then I go into highlight shadow menu. Now on the EM10 Mark IV, you actually can access highlight shadows directly through the control panel. But on my camera, I'm going to have to push the highlight shadow button. And I'm going to dial in -6 and then +6 on the highlights. And now let's take another picture. Now there's a few things you need to keep in mind. One is like the ISO and the highlight shadow settings are kind of global in nature, meaning if you decide to go back to natural color profile, then the ISO is still going to be 25,600 and the highlight shadows are still going to be +6 and -6. Also, these settings, the highlight shadow, monochrome, natural, these kind of settings only affect your JPEGs. If you're shooting in RAW plus JPEG, your RAW images will not be affected by sort of these little tweaks that we're making, like the auto gradation and the contrast and sharpness. However, the RAW file is affected, of course, by ISO settings, so you will have a grainy RAW image. Now, you may have noticed that when we were in the menu, and I go down here to picture mode, that I can actually click over to the right on any of the picture modes and change like contrast, sharpness, saturation, and gradation. But depending on what picture mode you select, you may have different options. Like in monotone, we had the black and white filter, we had the picture tone, and we have gradation again. Or, at least on my EM5 Mark II, I can go all the way down here, say to one of my favorite filters is the dramatic tone. If I click over to the right, I can select color, or I can select the black and white dramatic tone. Oops. Or I can go down here and I can add a pinhole effect, a white edge effect, picture frame, star, etc. So let me select a picture frame, and let's go over here to that, and I'm going to select a dramatic black and white. And let's see, I have some other options here too. I can actually apply a red filter, and let's do sepia. Let's just see how that looks. So time to time I like to use the art filters, especially if I'm adapting vintage lenses or using special effect filters like this swirly bokeh one. This is really cool. Here's a few pictures I took with it using the pop art filter. So I really love the effect I got with this filter, and I'll put a link down below if you're interested in getting one for yourself. But I encourage you to explore all the different settings for each of the picture modes. There's a lot of stuff in there, especially in the art filters. You can do a lot of crazy things, and you can get some very creative images with it. I know I used to do it all the time, but anyway, that's all I have for today. If you like these kind of videos, consider buying me a coffee or becoming a member to support the work that I do here. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.